welcome to Complexity Made Simple. My name is Paul Allen, and in the subject of today's video newsletter, well, we're going to talk about servant leadership. So a real lean topic this, how the leaders can support the workforce. Servant leadership, and sometimes this is a really difficult shift for lots of leaders to make. So how do we get good servant leadership? How do you make it work? How do you move from maybe telling and directing to helping and supporting? Now, of course, this isn't going to be in every case. You, of course, as the leader of the site, you want to set the direction. So you want to lead, and it feels like, well, I should be telling people what to do if that's the case. Surely that's what I do. So here's the important principle that you need to consider before we think about servant leadership. And it's this. You need to consider the idea of what versus how. And once you've got what and how nice and clear in your mind, then the servant leadership role will click into place in the most appropriate places. It's not always appropriate for you to be a servant leader. It's appropriate for you to be directive sometimes. But here's how you want to use what and how, and then this will lead to that fantastic phrase, how can I help? Which is one of the best things that can ever come out of your mouth. But anyway, what and how? What am I talking about? Well, it's very easy as a leader to tell people what you want, but what you're telling them is how. So you want to reduce the cost of purchased parts by 5%. So you tell the purchasing manager, I want you to go into India and China, and I want you to find cheap suppliers. You're telling them how. What you should have told them is what. So you ask the what, and you let your people and the people below you decide on the hows. This is the practical side. This is the business side, if you like. So one of the things from a lean perspective is, what do I want you to do? I want you to visualize. Let's have a think. I want you to visualize stock levels on the shop floor. That's what you want. Let your people decide the how. So they could, use colors, Kanbans, standard box quantities, a myriad of ways of doing it. Okay, so you've gone, I want you to visualize the stock levels. They choose the how. Let them choose the practical things so that their day-to-day work works well for them and they're happy with the decision that they've made. Now, if they get into trouble doing this, if you ask them, have you visualized? And they say, well, no, we haven't. Now, of course, you can become the servant leader. Because if they haven't yet achieved it, you can emit the magic phrase, how can I help? And it could be that they need more time. It could be that they need resources. Maybe they want to buy something. So maybe they'd like to use some professionally made labels and they're struggling to find a budget for that expense. How can I help? But if you decide the how, if you just say, I want you to use Kanbans, I want you to use standard boxes. There is no how can I help. You're just telling people. And of course the point about that is There is no use of all the intellectual horsepower in your company. All the ideas, when you tell the house, all the ideas come from you. So there's only one person in the company improving the company because you're specifying the how. If you specify the what do I want? I want to visualize stock levels. I want to reduce material cost by 5%. What else could it be? I want to reduce rejects to 1% of turnover. Whatever it is. If you specify the what and let your people come up with the how, and then if they get a problem and they're not progressing, you can turn into the servant leader by saying, how can we help? You're having a problem, how can we help? And if you get these mixed up, if you don't apply this and you get these mixed up, typically you're deciding all the hows. This is where lots of resistance to change comes from as well. So you'll get lots of resistance to change, not because your idea is not a good one, but maybe it just doesn't sit practically with the current workspace. Whereas if you let the people decide the how, you've specified the what, they're going to come up with a practical solution. So you get what you want, they get something that works, everybody's happy. But the servant leadership role, you need to be encouraging your people to improve. And then, of course, if they're not moving as fast as you want them to, you can ask them, how can I help? Do you need more money? Do you need specialist resources? Do you need time? Do you need overtime agreeing? What is it you need from us to help you to get your workspace working as well as you can possibly get it? So get the what and the how right. Then you can utter this famous phrase, how can I help? And at the right time, you will deliver servant leadership to your people. And of course, now the whole of your company can be working on good ideas and improvement instead of waiting for you to tell them, how the hell are we going to do it? That's servant leadership. It multiplies up your intellectual capacity, utilizes all the talent in your business, and helps you to make more money.